It's the first hurricane to make landfall in Florida in over a decade. Coming up, the state braces for Hermine. And the recent flooding in Louisiana could be one of the costliest natural disasters ever for flood insurance agencies. Plus, LSU fans make their way to legendary Lambeau Field as football season gets underway. Now at 9 begins now.
Sponsored by Market Basket. From KPLC 7 News, this is Fox 29 News Now at 9.
Thanks for joining us for Now at 9. I'm Jillian Corder. Hurricane Hermine continues to gain strength as it makes its way toward Florida. Eric Sneidel with the Raycom News Network has more from the Florida coastline.
Darkness has settled upon us here in Apalachicola, Florida, as Hurricane Hermine continues her turn to the northeast. Landfall expected sometime very late tonight or early Friday morning. We think on either side of about midnight. In terms of distance here to Apalachicola, it's going to stay roughly about distance-wise where it is. It's just a which side of us is it on as it continues to slide its way northeast. Tropical storm force conditions have been ongoing here for the last few hours. They'll likely pick up and get a little bit worse here as the storm continues to make its way, eventually pulling away from us and eventually riding up the Atlantic seaboard as we go through the next couple of days. So get a good look at kind of what you see here. Many parts of the U.S. on the eastern side of things will have to contend with Hermine even as we go into our Labor Day weekend here in Apalachicola, Florida. I'm Eric Sneidel for the Raycom News Network.
Rough weather over there, but beautiful here.
Yeah, and we're going to see no impacts, at least no negative impacts here in southwest Louisiana. Hurricane Hermine is likely to make landfall soon. Let's take a look at our weather graphics and show you exactly where it is. It is just a little bit to the southeast where Eric is located and likely going to make a landfall somewhere just east of their location. It's about 40 miles to the southeast of Apalachicola right now and moving off to the northeast at about 15 miles per hour. Here closer to home, it is still warm and muggy. Temperatures still setting in the 80s for the most part. I'll have a complete look at Hermine and our forecast in a few minutes. Julian.
Thanks so much, Wade. An 11-year-old purchased a game from a Lake Charles store and opened the case to find drugs. The game was from GameStop on Nelson Road, and according to the boy's father, there was a baggie of drugs inside. Police tested it and confirmed it was meth. We're told all returned or traded games are checked for quality, but not games transferred from other stores. GameStop tells police there's no way to track where that game came from. Devin Badon, the man involved in the 2011 killing of Stephen Bergeron, is in jail again. Badon was arrested in a parole violation. A spokesman for the local Office of Probation and Parole says Badon failed to report after being released August 13th. Badon may also be in trouble for leaving the state without the okay of his parole officer. Last month, he went to LA to participate in a taping of the Dr. Phil show. A Lake Charles couple was indicted today on rape charges. 39-year-old Eric Breaux was indicted on one count of first-degree rape, while his wife, 33-year-old Sarah Breaux, was indicted on one count of principal to first-degree rape. Eric Breaux was arrested by Calcasieu Parish deputies last month after authorities say he admitted to having sexual intercourse with a juvenile on numerous occasions between November 2014 and July 2016. His wife was arrested after she admitted to knowing about her husband's inappropriate relationship with the juvenile and did not report it to authorities. The illegal immigrant blamed for the fatal accident on I-10 in Laplace had been caught driving without a license 5 times before. It left many wondering what police do when they catch someone driving without a license. Sabrina Wilson explains.
Dennis Rodriguez remains locked up in a St. John Parish jail, accused of plowing the party bus he was driving into a fire truck and other vehicles on I-10 in Laplace Sunday, killing 3 people and injuring dozens of others. The fact that he's in the U.S. illegally and was driving without a driver's license ignited a firestorm of public outrage, a lot of it on social media. After Sunday's tragedy, many ask how someone like him could continue with his ways.
We have no authority to deport illegal aliens. That's a federal obligation.
We reached out to area law enforcement for answers on how drivers pulled over without a driver's license are handled.
It is the law. You are supposed to have a driver's license. You're supposed to have the license on your person.
But most law enforcement agencies who responded to us said officers have leeway whether to arrest the driver caught without a license.
It's up to the discretion of the officer. like any other misdemeanor.
We have a lot of tools to be able to verify the information citizens give us. What we're concerned about are revoked licenses or suspended licenses. We'll make a physical arrest on that.
You know, there's no information on this guy relative to him being a terrorist or anything else. We're going to go hold him in our jail, waiting to see whether or not he would be deported.
Like JPSO and NOPD, the St. Tammany Sheriff's Office says if someone is stopped and doesn't have a valid driver's license, a citation is issued. Its statement goes on to say some exceptions to this would be someone who knowingly commits the same infraction, such as driving without a driver's license. Discretion is part of the St. Bernard Parish Sheriff's Office's policy too, but drivers are arrested if licenses have been suspended for something like a DWI conviction. But arresting everyone caught behind the wheel without a driver's license could have an impact on jail overcrowding in many communities.
And we haven't jailed misdemeanors since the 1970s.
By our policy, we're not asking questions about immigration status when we become in contact with citizens.
Roughly 28,000 flood insurance claims have already been filed in South Louisiana, and more are expected after floodwaters swamped the state last month. State Insurance Commissioner Jim Donnellan testified before lawmakers in a special Senate committee meeting today, where he outlined just how costly the storm will be for the National Flood Insurance Program. It's on track to be the fourth most expensive storm in the agency's history. Two of the storms topping that list happened in Louisiana. It's why he says it's more important than ever for people to get covered.
No question. We are the most benefited. It is more important to us than any other federal program for a state as a whole. And I think it would be wise for any of us who can afford it to have full coverage for your building, but also for your contents.
The commissioner says it's important to shop around and get the best deal. If you already have a policy, he suggests reading the fine print to make sure not just your home is covered, but also the contents are insured as well. Louisiana is now the fattest state in the nation. That's according to the annual report from the Trust for America's Health and the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. The report found that in 2015, more than 36% of Louisiana adults were obese. In 2014, Louisiana ranked fourth. Now we're first, just ahead of Alabama, Mississippi, and West Virginia, who tied for second, and Kentucky rounds out the top five. Louisiana has steadily gotten heavier over the last 15 years. Back in 2000, Louisiana's obesity rate was 22.6%. Coming up next, the nation's biggest retailer is expected to cut several thousand jobs. And the Democrats are pulling out the big guns to try to prevent a Donald Trump rebound. A superstore retail giant is cutting thousands of jobs in its offices across the U.S. Walmart announced it will eliminate 7,000 jobs over the next few months. Officials say the cuts will mostly affect employees working in accounting and invoicing positions at about 500 locations across the country. They say the world's largest retailer wants to increase its numbers of employees on the sales floor and invest in better employee training, putting more than $2 billion into those programs, as well as wage hikes. As part of those wage hikes, workers who complete a minimum 6-month training program will be boosted to $10 an hour. Bluebell has announced another new flavor, Camo and Cream. The new flavor from the ice cream company was inspired by the camouflage trend. It's a mixture of pistachio, almond, milk chocolate, and cream cheese ice cream. It's now available in limited quantities in half-gallon and pint sizes. Democrats were rolling out big names to campaign for Hillary Clinton. This comes as Hillary's lead in the polls over Donald Trump has shrunk. Jeff Cellini reports.
Democrats are flooding the zone tonight, trying to block a Donald Trump pivot. From Vice President Joe Biden in Ohio.
This is a guy born with a silver spoon in his mouth that now he's choking on because his foot's in his mouth along with the spoon.
To Vice Presidential candidate Tim Kaine in New Hampshire.
Let's not get tricked by Trump. This campaign has kind of got the elements of a big con going with it.
It's an all-out effort to prevent Trump from getting a second look by independent voters and skeptical Republicans as summer ends and the race kicks into even higher gear after Labor Day. Trump hit Clinton hard on trade today in Ohio, casting himself as a friend of the working man.
No state has been hurt worse, really, by Hillary Clinton on trade policies than Ohio.
Biden said not so fast, urging voters to listen more carefully to Trump.
My biggest problem with Donald Trump, I'll tell you about it in a minute, is not his cockamamie policies, is the way he treats people.
Clinton spent the day off the campaign trail, exhaling after a record-setting fundraising month. She raised more than $140 million for her campaign and the Democratic Party in a coast-to-coast August sprint, the biggest haul of any month so far. She's putting some of that money to work, trying to expand the map of battleground states. The first target, Arizona, where Trump gave that fiery immigration speech Wednesday night.
Trojan horse, watch what's going to happen, folks.
And today, the Clinton campaign is airing its first ad in Arizona, saying Trump's rhetoric is not suitable for children.
When Mexico sends its people, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
Still, the race is far closer than Democrats would like. Even after Trump's rough August, polls show Clinton's lead is far from a runaway. The latest CNN poll of polls, showing the 5 most recent national surveys, has Clinton leading Trump 42 to 37, with Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson at 9. As state polls show the race tightening in some battlegrounds, Kaine telling CNN's Chris Cuomo Democrats can't be complacent.
It's close. This is not going to be easy. Never for a minute have I thought this was going to be smooth sailing. I've thought this was going to be a tough campaign.
Jeff Zeleny, CNN, Washington.
Wade, a few showers around tonight. I know at least one game had a rain delay tonight.
Yeah, as expected, there were a couple of those showers around. I think tomorrow should be fewer showers around. Good news for those games. Of course, we're watching the tropics too with 3 separate areas. Of course, Hurricane Hermine, the most interesting one, with an eye now showing up. Gaston is weakening, and maybe something else in the Atlantic to watch in a few days. I'll have the latest on Hermine and our forecast after this. Well, good evening to you. Really no rain left around southwest Louisiana. The rain that we saw earlier this evening pretty much came to an end as expected right as sunset happened. Once you have sunset, you lose the daytime heating and just really can't get rain to sustain itself in this sort of weather pattern. Closest rain is located well down to our southeast. Kind of move the radar down and you can see a few of those showers over southeastern Louisiana down near the Houma area. But those showers, yeah, they're moving to the southwest, so they're not going to affect us here in southwest Louisiana. Something else not affecting us, at least not directly, is now Hurricane Hermine, which is getting awfully close to at least the eye, trying to wobble ashore. Apalachicola is located here, the Port St. Joe area here, Carabelle's about right here, Sop-Choppy here, and this is St. Mark's there. Of course, there's Tallahassee. You can see where the label's at. I'm kind of familiar with this area. Went to school in Tallahassee at Florida State University for 2 years, so spent quite a bit of time in this vicinity. Beautiful area here, and you can see landfall likely to happen somewhere here, kind of in this Big Bend region of Florida within the next couple of hours. Obviously, a lot of rain going on. Storm surge, a big issue, even though most of the coastline, especially from here down to about here, which is the St. Mark's area, down to about Citrus County, there's very little population in that part of Florida. But there's storm surge occurring much farther south. In fact, as far south as down near the Tampa area, as far south as Fort Myers and into the Naples area. There's a closer view in of some heavier rain just about to affect Tallahassee. Again, one band's already moved through that vicinity, and heavy rain going on down farther south too. There's Tampa, Sarasota there. Strong rain bands here. Any of those may produce tornadoes, but of course, as I said, none of that affecting southwest Louisiana. Latest information on Hurricane Hermine is located at 29.4 north, 84.5 west. It's about 40 miles to the southeast of Apalachicola, Florida. Moving northeast at about 14, and it's only a couple of hours away from making landfall, so should be inland later on tonight. Then may get back out over the water off the coastline of South or North Carolina into the Atlantic Ocean. Could actually re-strengthen if it gets out over the water. Cold front located just to our north is going to continue to move south overnight. In fact, tomorrow morning should be just done knocking on our doorstep, then moving on through during the day. Behind that, yeah, the air turns drier. The humidity will drop. Should be a pretty nice evening tomorrow night. Saturday morning, really nice, but the front lifts back north by late Sunday, meaning, yeah, the humidity is going to come back. So your 7-day forecast looks like this. I'm going to put the rain chance tomorrow at only 10%. I don't think we're going to see much with that front moving through, but just like today, there may be a few of those little isolated showers. Then The temperature will drop by about 5 or 6 degrees for Saturday morning. So if you're up first thing in the morning, you might notice a slight change in the air.
A great way to start football season, though, right?
Definitely so.
Thanks so much, Wade. Appreciate it. LSD fans are arriving early in Green Bay for the Tigers' season opener against Wisconsin. Jacques Doucet is among those who've made the long trip to Lambeau Field. He shows us the mood ahead of Saturday's long-awaited kickoff.
Well, guys, welcome to 1265 Lombardi Avenue, Lambeau Field here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where the LSU Tigers will take on the Wisconsin Badgers this Saturday. This really is a special event because Lambeau Field has not had a college football game here since 1983, and they tell me that was a Division III game that had about 800 people attend. This game will have about 81,000 people in the stands to watch, and perhaps 30,000 LSU fans making their way up north.
A lot of fans coming. I mean, it's just going to be unreal. Wisconsin's about to see something they ain't never seen when all the purple and gold get here, and we can't wait.
Oh, it's great, man. This weather's great. This 70-degree temperature with a north wind blowing. We don't see that in South Louisiana at this time of the year, so we're enjoying it. And this could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to visit, the great tradition with football here. So we couldn't refuse. We had to come. Just hope that Tigers could play well, and we get our number 7 cranked up, and score a lot of points, and we leave here Sunday, with a victory.
Well, it's a first for the continental U.S. Coming up next, more on mosquitoes that have tested positive for the Zika virus. For the first time in the United States, mosquitoes are found to be carrying the Zika virus. The Zika-carrying mosquitoes were trapped in a tourist section of Miami Beach, which is an active zone for Zika transmission. Officials say 3 of 19 traps tested positive for mosquitoes with the virus. While this development is disappointing to state officials, they're not surprised by the outcome. Miami-Dade Mayor Carlos Jimenez talked about the discovery during a news conference earlier today.
The total number of Zika cases in Miami-Dade County, when you take into consideration the 2.7 million residents of Miami-Dade County, that's a percentage of 0.007, 7 1/1000ths of a percent are the folks that have Zika here in Miami-Dade County. So this is not an epidemic. We are, though, taking every step possible, every prudent step to make sure that it doesn't become one.
The Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services says 95 more trapped mosquitoes have been tested since those 3 were found. They say intensive trapping and testing will continue. And researchers say a new experimental drug could be a game changer when it comes to treating Alzheimer's disease. Patients with early stage Alzheimer's were given the drug once a month for a year. According to the researchers, the drug cleared some deposits of toxic plaque from the brain. It's that plaque that experts believe plays a crucial role in triggering the onset of Alzheimer's and slows memory loss. After a year, patients on the highest dose had virtually no detectable signs of these deposits. Larger studies are underway to test whether this potential breakthrough holds up. Coming up next, Wade has a final check of the weather, and we take a look at a few movies to catch this Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend is the traditional end of summer and of the summer movie season. The thriller Don't Breathe figures to remain atop the box office, but a couple of new movies and a returning favorite are here to mix things up. David Daniel has a look.
When I first saw you, I felt like I knew you, and I couldn't stop seeing my life with you.
Moviegoers looking for romance this weekend can look for The Light Between Oceans. Real-life couple Michael Fassbender and Alicia Vikander star in the drama, set after World War I on an island off Australia. Analysts expect Oceans to debut as high as $9 million over the 4-day weekend.
Within a month, walking and talking. Within 6 months, it exceeded our wildest expectations.
Morgan, about a synthetic humanoid who causes problems for its creators, will attempt to take some of the thriller audience away from Don't Breathe. Kate Mara and Anya Taylor-Joy star in the low-budget pick, which is projected to snare about $6 million.
Somewhere out there is my family.
Families looking for a holiday weekend movie can revisit Finding Dory. The animated sequel is already the year's highest-grossing movie in the U.S., but Disney saw an opportunity, so Dory is expanding this weekend from a few hundred theaters to nearly 3,000, bringing a whole new meaning to Just Keep Swimming. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, our forecast for your Friday, temperature should start off in the mid to upper 70s first thing in the morning, then warm up quickly into the 90s. But that front should arrive sometime in the afternoon hours, so only a 10% chance for rain with it. You'll notice the effects of it tomorrow evening as the humidity will be a little lower.
We can't wait for that. All right, that's all for now at 9. Thanks for joining us and have a good night.